Welcome back, dear lizard friends. Welcome back. It's Grim Dawn. It's, I guess, the last record we do. Picking up some pieces that were left, trying to figure out one or two details that we need to do. And so it's basically like the end of the game. Last time we defeated Korvac, I think he was called, this blood god guy. What a fight it was. What a fight it was. Really interesting. This time, yeah, we're just picking up on some stuff. I just checked my inventory, I just checked everything, what to do. Found a guide or two for one or two stuff that I didn't know how to get. Basically we could do a lot more. There's like a lot of fractions we could get on the good side. There are some side quests that I actually don't really want to finish because they seem pretty boring to me. There's like I'm sure there's places we missed out on because they were kind of good hidden. Like some of them I didn't find. I think there's some parts that we didn't visit, but I am quite happy with the outcome yet. We are at 125 episodes. This is 126. I think this is enough, and we come to an end now, finally. This is going on forever, it feels. It's not bad. It's actually kind of okay. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun journey. It was a lot of different things. It was emotional. So many stories, so many NPCs we met. Let's take a look at what we have left. I checked the side quests. We have only like finding stuff in Malmut, like some treasure or something. Finding some lost cannons on a conflagration, but this was annoying because it was this area where you couldn't step much without getting a ton of damage all the time. We have the Secrets of the Lost, some book to retrieve. We have like a place with the skeleton key that we didn't finish, like a dungeon thingy. This Shattered Realms is like this places that seems to be like this here, like it looks like the rifts in Diablo actually. That you have to like defeat enemies and then get like a reward at the end. And we have the Word of Ran to find like hidden statues with texts of Ran or something. But I don't really like this. It doesn't seem that interesting to me. I think it's pretty boring side quests that I actually don't really want to finish up on. What we do have is a bit in my inventory that I checked. What I really want to do is finding this Seals of Morganet. We missed one. And I looked it up to find out where it is because I absolutely couldn't figure out on my own where it could be. So we missed one and we are going to get the second one. We have the first seal, this is the third seal. We found one in this sand monster thingy that swallowed people, and we found one in this holding place with the weird noises in the background. But we didn't find the second one. So I looked up where to find it, and then we will see what this... because I'm pretty sure it leads us to this place called... Why does it not open the map? Excuse me? Where's the map? Why does not open the map? My M doesn't work. Okay, that's cool. I put a lot of water yesterday on my keyboard. I hope it didn't damage the keyboard. But the M doesn't work. This works. M doesn't work. Cool. One of my most important button in the whole game doesn't work. Cool. We are in the Conclave of the Tree. I heard that we have to go to the Corvin Sands, and there's somewhere like statues of griffins that we didn't find. I don't even know if we were at this Bone Beach Basin. I'm not sure. And then we can go to the Lost Oasis and the Tomb of the Heretic. This is what I really want to finish on. And that's what we do. And just to open this place, because we found two of the seals, I really want to find the third one also. I hope this turns out good. We will find out. We will see. And yes, my M button doesn't work anymore. Cool. Great. No matter. Yeah, I took the whole bunch of water on my whole desk yesterday. It was a lot of fun because I also have like a lot of notes lying around here for the playing in general, like the let's plays, the names of the episodes, the death counter in Elden Ring and all the stuff. I have like a ton of notes here on small pieces of paper like this, and somehow they got all wet, of course. This was a lot of fun because notes aren't waterproof. I was pretty sure the keyboard is, but somehow it proves me wrong right now. I hope this will figure itself out somehow. And something happened to the cable. I don't know. I have to figure that out later. Okay, just put it to the side and that's it. Oop. This key doesn't work. This key works. Like a lot of keys still work, only the M Mini doesn't. That's cool. Okay, so let's get started with this. But before we do, I saw that we have a lot of texts also from the last time. We have the Coven Elegy, where we missed somehow. Part 2. We have the Coven Expedition final entry, Writings of We on the Scholar, and Splendors of the Eldritch Realm, and this thingy that's called Ruminations of the Primordial One. So basically we have some text that I want to read to you before we continue. So lean back, put on your best headphones that you have for my amazing voice in your ear, and enjoy the... it's an audiobook basically today. So enjoy and lean back. We start with the Ruminations of the Primordial One. The raging thoughts of a primordial being emanate from this scrap of wound flesh and flow through your mind. Betrayed. By my brothers and sisters, Empyrean vanished to the eternal tapestry of creation. The war is over, we have lost. My kin, in their desperation, tapped into the forbidden void in order to turn the tide in their favor. They may be the victors, but the maddening whispers of them now. As for us, we are beaten. Nothing remains now but to hide and tend to our wounds. My temple still stands, my faithful remain loyal. With their worship and sacrifice, I regain my strength. It may take 100 years, 1,000, it matters not. My vengeance is inevitable. Wars of agony reverberate through your flesh. My loyal Ulsuin watches over me now, along with my many-eyed fiend I've bound to his fate. Mortal eyes must not see me in this state until I am ready to return to the stars and reap my vengeance. The rebel's fate must not falter. The clash of battle, the sizzling power of arcane spellwork fills your ears before becoming deafened by the cracking of the very earth. Treachery, betrayal, where is Ulsuin? What sorcery is this? What has this witch done? When these bindings break, I will spill her blood and make her watch every drop. The scheming sorceress she's allied with will burn on an eternal pyre for my amusement. As for the duplicious streak, the agony I've instilled upon him will be a mere trickle compared to the torment he will suffer for eons. Darkness clouds your mind and heavy breathing fills your ears. He stirs. The dead one stirs. His blood boils within our creations, yearning to return. Even my captors can sense their impending doom. I will not be lamb waiting for the slaughter. This fast has gone on long enough. The witch gods may have stolen what is mine, taken my fate as theirs, but there are still those in this world that yearn for my brother's return. I will harness their wishes, their desperation, and through them I will break these bonds and reclaim my throne. You hear the clanking of chains, the straining of metal as it is pushed to its limits. An opportunity, yes. A mortal pure of purpose but so easily molded. He will be the harbinger of my return. I can already feel the bonds becoming brittle. The witch god's hold on me weakens, and when I am free, this world will again tremble before the might of Korvac. Yeah, I don't think so, boy. I think we prevented that pretty nicely. The Coven Elegy, Part 1. We do not know where he hails from. Nobody we spoke to knows him. What drew a sorcerer to our land confounds us, but it is his disregard for our ways, our very fate, that brought him to my attention. I've received numerous complaints of this Solial visiting religious sites and temples and showing utter disregard for procedure or ritual. It is almost as if he's searching for something, but what, I cannot say. His private home in the outer reaches of the Carrion Docks, acquired with a satchel of foreign gold, I am told, has been sighted giving off an eerie glow in the middle of the night, much like the Divine's eldritch light. I feel that it is only a matter of time before the conjurer's his own undoing by delving into matters he is not meant to and drawing the ire of the eldritch sun. I know not what folly the sorcerer's plans, but he is quickly becoming a danger to the Corvan fate and a menace to its people. We must not let dissidents unravel what is presently a fragile situation. With the Eldritch Sun silent and none allowed to seek his providence, we must take these matters into our hands. I've dispatched the temple's elite guard to handle this concern. Nobody's going to miss a reclusive sorcerer, and besides, he's a stranger to these lands after all. What's one more unidentified body in the river? Ah, okay. But we know that Zaliel is a god, he's the cult that we choose, so... I guess it didn't turn out well. Sadly we don't have part 2, but let's see part 3. Tragic is the tale of Ulsuin, the ever-living flame, the right hand of the Eldritch Sun, for none have suffered as ruthless a betrayal as he. A warrior at heart, Ulsuin was restless with his newfound duties of keeping vigil over the temple of the Eldritch Sun, for what mortal could hope to threaten a god. And so he entertained himself within his temple, consuming wine and concubines faster than his attendants could hope to supply. That was until the priestess Bismir attracted his attention. Her generous curves moved with confidence through the halls and her emerald eyes captivated the god, but it was her silky voice that got her invited to his chambers. There she stayed, sometimes for days, to the chagrin of the temple priests. Ulsuin was enthralled by the young priestess. Shirking his duties and ignoring the complaints of his attendants, nobody but Bismir was allowed near him, and none but her would be allowed to fill his lonely nights of vigil. That lust ultimately proved to be his undoing, for it was then that Ulsuin learned the true danger of mortals. It was on a fateful day when the earth ruptured and the sky turned to flame that Ulsuin realized his folly. Bismir had promised him a glorious surprise, an indulgence unlike any he had yet experienced in his many lifetimes, which left Ulsuin recklessly far from Corvan City and the Temple of the Eldritch Sun. Sensing the upheaval, Ulsuin rushed back to his post, but he was far too late. The city was consumed by fire and the great temple had been claimed by another. Ulsuin howled at the sky, calling out to his father Empyrean for aid, but the skies were silent. In blinding agony and rage, Ulsuin flattened his temple and inflicted a wound upon the world that burns to this day. Just as the wound Bismir left upon his heart remained still. But there, where the vengeful god is now, perhaps only the witch gods know. Isn't Bismir like one of the witch gods? This is pretty interesting. So one came to the city, Zaliel, and took inquiries and put the people at unease. Bismir had a bit of fun with Ulsuin, that was to protect the Eldritch Sun. Let's see part 4. Let me regale to you the tale of Corvan's fall. For when the gods did battle and the world shook in their wake, it was the people of Corvan that paid the price of ambition. With Ulsuin off in distant lands, the temple of the Eldritch Sun was infiltrated, aided by treachery. The many-eyed fiend, the guardian of the hidden realm, clouded the minds of the temple's attendants and allowed two figures, a sorcerer and a priestess, to pass through unhindered. Together they crossed the gate to a reality beyond mortal words, the realm of the Eldritch Sun. There they found the primordial being gathering strength upon his throne. The sorcerer spared no time in unleashing his assault upon a wounded god. All the while the priestess cast her bindings upon him, and the infinite gaze filled his mind with visions of terror. The celestial being thrashed against his restraints and lashed out at his attackers, and as he did, so the land above crumbled and spat fire. The air filled with sulfur, and the Corvan people fled for safety. The seas evaporated and the rivers were replaced with molten rock, for the Corvan lands were as bound to the fate of Korvac as flesh is to bone. For every injury the god sustained from the sorcerer's onslaught, a violent eruption shook the basin and engulfed its people. As he strained against the priestess' bindings, so the earth crumbled and changed, and as the guardian's visions consumed his very thoughts, so the Corvan people were ensnared by madness and nightmares. When at last the tremor subsided and the survivors looked up from amongst the ashes, they saw not one figure descending the temple steps in triumph, but 3, and the fate of Cairn was forever changed. So this is the tale how the witch gods defeated Korvac, I guess. Interesting. So what else we have? Corvan Expedition, the final entry. This is like the expedition that went there, and they were accompanied by like a delegation of the guy that gave them money So they tried to get rid of them and lock them into a place so that they couldn't follow them. Let's see what happened to them. Were the tales of Corvin's legends untrue? Were we led astray by false promises? What of the white-hot energy that once warmed the foundations of Corvin City? There is nothing, no revelation, no great power. The temple runs cold, its heart a hardened mass of blackened glass. The great god who once dwelt here is gone. To where? I do not know. His fate is irrelevant to me. I care only for the power that lingered here and that is all gone. I am alone now. A lifetime of work and friendship gone, wasted. Roderick lies dead, struck down by the ancient guardian of this place. The only indication that this place was ever worth a damn. Roderick gave his life so that I could reach the heart of the temple. His sacrifice was rendered pointless as the history that led us here proved to be no more than fables. I am certain a great power dwelt here once, but it's long gone, perhaps claimed by another. There's nowhere left for me to go, no reason for me to pursue an existence beyond these walls, and so I shall perish, here as well, with the knowledge that my life's work, my very purpose, was to waste. Or perhaps I should return to the guardian that felt my friend and allow it to take me as well, a final tribute to the Eldritch Son of old. So, this is kind of a lame ending for them. What else do we have? We on the Scholar, 4th entry. Maybe it's also his final entry. Let's see. Following today's investigation of the tombs and temples of Corvin City, I must say I am more confused and, frankly, enthralled by the Corvin fate than I could have possibly imagined. Today I had the privilege to be a witness to a ceremony at the Temple of Ran, where the Ascendant himself was present to perform the honorable rite. It is my understanding that Ran holds domain over the sun itself, and it is by his blessing that the sun rises each day to warm the earth and give life to the harvest. The ceremony itself was brief and involved the slaughter of 5 goats upon the golden altar, their blood spilled into the carvings in the form of a many-pronged sun. Ran was a splendor to behold, his skin as golden as the suit of the armor he wore. The armor glowed with burning energy, and yet, as some of the acolytes in the temple described to me from their blessed opportunities to lay their hands upon it, so cool to the touch. With the way he presents himself, it is easy to see why his followers believe this man to be a deity. The acolytes tell me that this is actually the 12th incarnation of Ran. His father was the 11th, and so on, down the patriarchal line, a chain of his family. Each of them had allegedly lived for centuries, and each had willingly given his life in the service of the Eldritch Sun. I was astonished to discover that the deification of this figure was his birthright. It does, however, lend credence to my suspicions regarding the true nature of those Corvin gods. The acolytes of this temple were more than eager to share Ran's history with me. I swear if I let them, they'd talk all day of his countless accomplishments and divine intervention. But what did catch my attention was the presumed rivalry between Ran and another deity that they call Atep, the Lord of the Moon. As this rivalry heated up, Atep, I've learned, had slighted the Eldritch Sun and was thus banished from setting foot in Corvin City, or to ever again feel the warmth of day upon his flesh. But the divine Korvac was not without mercy. Once every 30 circles of the sun, he disgraced Atep was to make pilgrimage to Corvin City and make an offering upon the grand temple steps. This is an extraordinary and incredibly creative explanation for the circling of day and night and the wax and wane of the moon. If this strange practice of ascension weren't enough, the people of the Corvin Valley also appeared to deify native animals and sometimes odd combinations of people and animals. The Corvin Griffin is particularly a common target on this practice. The creatures apparently live in rigid hierarchical packs which elevate a singular, usually male, individual to an alpha known by the Corvin people as a sovereign. These Griffin sovereigns are then worshipped by locals as minor deities. The intricacies of the Corvin fate are remarkable, but I must not go on and mention that they all lead back to Korvac in one fashion or another. I shall focus future investigations on this penultimate deity. So they basically took people and animals that they thought were strong or cool as gods. I mean, yeah, nothing wrong with that. I think every culture did something like this, no? And last but not least, the splendors of the Eldritch Realm. So this episode would actually be only like a reading episode, but hey, let's catch up with some history, it's interesting. Eldritch Realm Splendors. To behold the realms of the Eldritch Sun is a blessing unto itself. To be granted the honor by the divine himself is another matter entirely. But so it was on the day I visited the Temple of Ra to breathe of the sacred incense that I was visited with a vision of golden light and flame. It was without a doubt the manifestation of our divine, Korvac, I'm certain of it. With arms open wide, he welcomed me to witness the splendors of his realm. The temple walls dissolved around us, and I found myself stepping onto a land for which words are lacking. Massive winged creatures glided in the distance, their glistening feathers backed up by a brilliant starry sky. Auroras of war magic float between vast floating islands of trees and plants I've never seen before. I touched one of the roots and raw arcane energy pulsed away from my fingertips. It was all too much for a mortal mind to absorb. I turned to our benefactor with tears in my eyes. I could tell I was visibly shaking. The eldritch sun took mercy on me, and I awoke abruptly to find myself surrounded by the temple priests. I had apparently started convulsing, and foam formed itself at the corners of my lips. The priest placed some herbs beneath my nose, which they say was what allowed me to awaken again. I told him that could not be true, as I was visited by the eldritch sun himself. I was looked upon as a madman. Why would I, of all people, gathered at the temple, be granted such an amazing sight? For that I do not have an answer, but I cannot deny the gift I was given, even if the envious are in denial of its magnitude. Okay, yeah, we were in this land, and it's actually as he described, so for some reason, the eldritch sun thought him fit to see it. Why not? Okay, so let's so we're already at the end of the episode, just from reading and catching up with some history. But now we know how Korvac was defeated in the first place, betrayed by these gods, these three gods that we served now. And we learned the history. We learned how they could defeat and betray him with like taking care of this watch guy, this whatever, something with U that I never remember. And we learned that the Korvac fate was Corvin fate was based on animals and people that they saw as deities. So we learned a lot actually in this episode. This was a very, very not only entertaining but especially very knowledgeable episode. We learned, yeah, this is important. Keep your mind fresh, people. And with this, I tell you goodbye for today. Next episode, we get the second seal for sure, I promise. Until then, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, as always, lizard people. And we'll see each other in the next episode. Until then, bye and have a great time.